So you're thinking about starting your own business. That's great. Listen, starting and running a business can be both easy and difficult at the same time. Now, getting started is usually the easy part once you have committed to making the decision to actually starting a business. But businesses fail on a regular basis. And oftentimes, because of a variety of different reasons, these businesses may fail for a litany of different things. However, as these lessons present themselves, you can have a great opportunity to learn from a failed attempt at running a business, which may be useful for future businesses or just life in general. I often talk about opening up my own law firm, but before I opened up my law firm, I actually briefly partnered with a good friend to start a business, which focused on event planning and personal management of hip hop artists. As you can probably imagine, the business did not last long, and I can confidently say we made no money doing the business before we closed it. Now, even though we only had our doors open for a brief time, and I do mean brief, I learned a lot. And it was those lessons from running that business, that failed business, that actually helped me when I decided to open up my own law firm. So for today, here's some things that I want to share with you that I hope will help you from my failed experience. 1, starting a business is easy, but planning for it to stay open is where the real work begins. Now, when my good friend and I started our own business, it was fairly easy as far as I was concerned. I was able to get all the necessary documentation that we needed in terms of the licenses and things of that nature. And so opening our doors was really easy. And now if you stop and you think about it, most of the things that you can get in order to open the doors of any business, you can do in less than a day. However, I will admit the one thing we did not do is that we did not plan on how to keep our doors open. We were so excited by the fact that the two of us were going to be working together and working with each other because we believed that our personalities would complement each other in such a way that we would be productive, that we didn't, and as a result of this, we didn't go through the extra steps of actually planning our business for it to survive beyond a year or 2 years, 5 years, or any time into the future. And because we did not take those extra steps, we did not have any type of roadmap for how we're going to grow our business. Number 2, if you decide to partner with someone, define your roles and establish the expectations for each other. Now, we were in a unique position, he and I, because both he and I were working full-time, we were both married, and he had 2 kids with another one on the way. He was working for a middle management for a Fortune 500 company, and I was an associate at a medium-sized law firm. Both of us had demands from our day-to-day jobs, but I could say that we both had areas of flexibility in different situations. However, we never sat down to talk about how we would balance our day jobs while trying to grow our business. We were both partners in the venture, but we did not lay out a plan for how we were going to do the day-to-day activities of our business. And more importantly, we didn't assign any type of roles or responsibilities in terms of how certain things would handle. The artists that we were able to work with came through him, and I had a natural inclination towards event planning. But the two of us never sat down to say which one of us would be responsible for what activities, and more importantly, how would the other person support them in those endeavors. As such, we were effectively winging it because we never really laid out any clear-cut roles and responsibilities that each of us had on each other so that this way the business could grow and be productive. Number 3, figuring out how much to charge for our services. Now this may seem really simple, but you'd be surprised how many people do not stop to think critically about how much they're going to charge for their services. Even in situations where they're selling a product, the easy part is figuring out how to recoup the money in terms of the supplies that you may have provided. That's easy. But trying to assign a specific dollar amount for the labor involved can sometimes be tricky. And you also have to struggle with the reality that you may want to avoid scaring people away or customers if you charge too high. But then you have the other part of this where you may find yourself undercharging yourself because you're not truly giving the full value of the worth of your services in terms of the dollar amount. In our case, we never clearly defined how much we were going to charge for our services, which unfortunately put us in a couple of situations where we ended up basically doing work for specific events and activities for free. Number 4, figuring out how you're going to get paid. Now, when I was running my own law firm, payment was fairly straightforward because I was either getting paid by the defendant when I was dealing with litigation cases or from the government when I was dealing with administrative cases. In both of those instances, whether it be the defendant or the government, I knew exactly where the money was coming from. So I never had to worry about a function of how the money would be received. All the money would either be mailed directly to me as a hard check, or the money would be automatically deposited into my bank account. Fairly straightforward. However, when my buddy and I were running our business together, we never established how we were going to get paid. We didn't have any mechanisms because we hadn't established how much we were going to charge. We hadn't established the best mechanism to pay us, whether it be work orders, pay orders, whether it be checks, money orders, things like that. So here we are again in the same situation where we have no way of knowing how someone is going to pay for us. So we hadn't established how much we were going to get paid and how we were going to get paid. So again, when we found ourselves in situations of doing large events, even when they were prepared to pay us, we ourselves hadn't set up any type of mechanism for us to receive payment. Finally, 5, sometimes the success comes from the failure. Now this may seem spectacularly corny, but the reality is sometimes the success comes from the failure. The funny thing about this business is that he and I started is that we effectively just stopped doing it. We had made no money. We had lost the last couple of clients that we had who we were representing because they decided to go in a different direction, which is completely fine. We did 3 events that were very well attended, but we didn't make any money on them because nor did we promote that we were actually doing them. We basically came off as being 2 guys who were helping out a couple of different entities. So when we stopped engaging in the business of running a business altogether, I was able to stop and take stock of what we actually did. And I learned a lot about what not to do when I got ready to start my own law firm. So for me, it's easy to look back and say, oh man, that was a failure. But the failure itself was a success for me because it gave me the experience of what it meant to open my own doors and what I needed to do in order to plan to keep those doors open. Now, if you're fortunate enough to open your own business or start your own business, you're going to experience a lot of headaches. That just goes without saying. A lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, a lot of moments where you're like, what the heck am I doing? You're going to question whether or not you are truly meant to do what you are trying to do. However, what you may not realize is that very few people actually try to open their own businesses. As such, even if you try and fail, you will have infinitely more experiences than those persons who have never even tried at all. In hindsight, going through that experience with my buddy helped me understand what I needed to do. And more importantly, it showed me that I could do it even on my own. So even in failure, I found success.